Change of feet from Ronaldo!
Attenzione, Ronaldo salta anche Marchegiani e mette dentro il 3-0.
Terreno disastrato di San Siro, la rottura parziale del tendine rotuleo destro, l'intervento a Parigi il 30 novembre ed il lento recupero.
Ronaldo che ha lasciato il campo e che è rimasto a lungo affranto in panchina. In panchina insieme con Ronaldo, che non è venuto a entrare.
The 5th of May 2002. Inter Milan entered the Olimpico in the last match of the season, knowing that a win against Lazio will earn them the Scudetto. The first since '89 and a long-awaited title for Ronaldo with the Nerazzurri. But a nightmare of a match resulted in Inter's loss against Lazio and with Juve winning the title. It was also made clear later that this was Ronaldo's last match with Inter. But how did the Brazilian play 5 years with Inter and never had the successes which were fitting of his name? Let's talk about Ronaldo's chapter with Inter. After impressing with Cruzeiro in his first season as a professional, Ronaldo, 17 at that time, joined the Brazilian squad that won the '94 World Cup. And although he didn't play a single minute in the tournament, most European clubs were scouting the teenage Brazilian and studying his potential. And after the summer, Ronaldo joined PSV Eindhoven after some advice from Romario, who went through the same path when he started playing in Europe. Ronaldo faced some serious culture shock outside the field, but on it, he was a prodigy after scoring 30 goals in his first season and impressing the whole of Europe. The Brazilian missed most of his second season after suffering from a rare condition in his knee that affects teenagers that experience sudden growth spurts, which could serve as a sign to what is coming in the near future. But the injury scare didn't stop Internazionale and Barcelona from showing their admiration for the Brazilian. And the club from Catalonia managed to sign Ronaldo and make him the most expensive player ever. The Brazilian season with Barcelona under Sir Bobby Robson could be regarded as one of his best seasons after scoring 47 goals in 49 matches. The most famous of them being his goal against Compostela when the cameras caught Bobby Robson's shot from the bench.
That is world class!
He managed to win the Spanish Super Cup, the European Cup Winners' Cup and the Copa del Rey.
Barcelona have done it!
And at the end of the season, club president Nunez and vice president Gaspar were confident in extending Ronaldo's contract for at least 10 years. But after negotiations between Ronaldo's agents and Barcelona fell through, in came Moratti, calling Ronaldo's agent and managed to close the deal with the Brazilian, making him the most expensive player for the second time. Each side has his own version of what happened regarding Ronaldo's contract negotiations. Gaspar says that Moratti came in and snatched the Brazilian illegally. And Ronaldo's agents said that Barcelona didn't respect the Brazilian and gave empty promises with regards to agreed upon demands. But the reality was that Ronaldo was Inter's newest player. After the last Nerazzurri Scudetto in '89, the league was controlled by both AC Milan and, in a lesser sense, Juve. And after Massimo Moratti took over in '95, he wanted to bring back the glory days of the Nerazzurri, like his father Angelo Moratti has done in the age of Heleno Herrera in the '60s. And Ronaldo's purchase was a strong message for the league that Inter was here for the Scudetto. The message was loud and clear after a strong start for the Nerazzurri in the league. Ronaldo scored 9 goals in his first 11 matches to push Inter to the top of the pile while being undefeated. And after a busy mercato for Moratti in the last 2 years, the team had some great players already like Ivan Zamorano, Diego Simeone, Yuri Jokaev and Javier Zanetti, all led by Gigi Simoni in his first season with the team, who managed to use Ronaldo effectively. Freedom to roam and the responsibility of starting the counters were one of Ronaldo's tasks in the field, because of his ease of getting past players. He took no time to understand the Italian way of playing, and his performances earned him his first Ballon d'Or presented by France Football magazine for the year 1997, which was presented to him in the Giuseppe Meazza before a pivotal match against Juve. And the Bianconeri was the real challenger for Inter in that season, the former champions guided by Marcello Lippi, who had Del Piero in his arsenal in one of his best seasons ever. It was obvious that the Scudetto will be decided by these two players. Ronaldo and Inter managed to win the first challenge against Del Piero and the Bianconeri after a great assist from the Fenomeno, and managed to protect their lead in the table by 4 points from Juve. But after a hard February where Inter lost their precious lead, the Nerazzurri managed to bounce back after 6 consecutive wins, with Ronaldo scoring at least a goal a game, the most famous of them being against Milan in the Derby della Madonnina.
Ronaldo! Rete! Il raddoppio dell'Inter con Ronaldo!
The blistering form of the Nerazzurri and Ronaldo continued in the UEFA Cup as well, and the Brazilian managed to score 2 important goals against Spartak Moscow under the snow to clinch the match and book a place for Inter in the final.
Ancora Ronaldo, grande percussione Ronaldo, gol straordinario di Ronaldo.
4 matches were left and the Derby d'Italia was renewed in the Delle Alpi in April, where the Bianconeri was ahead by a point from the Nerazzurri. The match had unprecedented media attention as the Scudetto could be decided by this fixture. The match started with expected high tensions as tackles were flying left and right. Del Piero managed to open the scoring after the ball was deflected back to him. Ronaldo and Inter tried to get back in the game after 2 big chances, but a controversial decision by the ref Piero Cicciarini changed the course of the match. Juve came back instantly in the counter and were awarded a penalty, which led to an explosion of rage from the players and the usually calm Gigi Simoni. Although Gianluca Pagliuca saved the penalty from Del Piero, Inter failed to get back in the match and the gap extended to 4 points between the Bianconeri and the Nerazzurri, entering the last 3 matches of the season. And following strong quotes from Moratti after the match, it was obvious that Inter were mentally disjointed following Juve's result after a draw at home against Piacenza, and another loss against Bari, which handed the Scudetto to the Bianconeri. Ronaldo managed to successfully end his impressive first season with the UEFA Cup after Inter demolished Lazio in the final. It is regarded as one of the Brazilians' best performances within Nerazzurri. And although the team failed to win the Scudetto, the fans were optimistic about this group and the near future.
I suppose the shock news that Ronaldo will not be in the Brazil 11 for tonight's match.
Has just hit the news because Ronaldo will play. There's been a big mistake in the team sheets.
After all the conspiracies and rumors about his medical status in the World Cup final, Ronaldo came back to Inter to open a new page and continue on his great form from last season. And then came a 31-year-old Roberto Baggio to help Ronaldo and Inter in their quest for the Scudetto. But Ronaldo struggled in the start of the season with niggling injuries that made him miss 7 of the first 11 matches in the league, in which Inter found itself in 7th position, which led to the firing of Gigi Simoni in the beginning of December, who was replaced by the experienced Romanian Lucescu. Ronaldo's injuries were frustrating to the team as it hampered any sort of continuity in the season. He was also quoted saying that he thinks his injuries in both his knees could be chronic, which was also mentioned by Piero Volpi, the team's doctor. But despite that, there was always an internal battle between Ronaldo and the team when it came to his fitness. And after being knocked out by Manchester United in the quarterfinals, Ronaldo went back to Brazil to his personal physician Nelton Petroni after an approval from Inter, which caused him to miss the match against Sampdoria, as Inter lost by 4-0 and Lucescu resigned after the match. His assistant Castellini took over temporarily, as Massimo Moratti decided to sign Marcello Lippi, who will take charge starting from next season. Ronaldo came back for the last 8 matches and scored 8 goals while being handed the captaincy. But most of these goals came in negative results, And after drawing against 15th place Vicenza and losing against Udine, both at home, the Nerazzurri fans had enough, as riots began outside the stadium, which targeted team legend and sporting director Mazzola, and also most of the players and even Ronaldo. And the manager roulette didn't end with Castellini, as ex-Inter manager Roy Hodgson came back to take over until the end of the season. And after a win in May against Roma in the Olimpico, Moratti suddenly decided to resign after the pressure. But his presidency will continue until the board meeting decides his fate in July, as the Nerazzurri ended the season in 8th position, 24 points from the champions Milan. After the board meeting commenced and thousands of messages from the Nerazzurri fans asking Moratti to return, Massimo decided to continue his reign with the team. He was also adamant in buying the best, as he signed with Sidor from Madrid, Piruzzi from Juve, Cordoba, and the most expensive player in the world in that time, Christian Vieri. Moratti's message to the fans was loud and clear, but it still depends on Ronaldo's condition. And after impressing the Copa America in the summer, with Brazil winning the title, there was optimism that the Fenomeno was back to his best. After coming back late from Brazil, the club and especially the new manager Marcello Lippi was not impressed, as the Italian decided to bench the Brazilian in a couple of games in the beginning of the season. Ronaldo also missed games as he was not ready in terms of fitness. But he came back in the Derby della Madonnina, and after scoring the first goal, Ronaldo was shown his first red card in his career. He came back in a loss against Bologna and then that day against Lecce. And after scoring his usual penalty, Ronaldo was subbed in the 59th minute because of an injury. The severity of the injury was not obvious at first, but it was made clear after the match that Ronaldo has ruptured a tendon in his right knee. Surgery was now a requirement as Ronaldo went to Paris, and the timetable for his return was roughly 5 months. As a 23-year-old, Ronaldo had his first major injury in his career. But despite the severity of his injury, the Brazilian was determined that he'll come back stronger than ever. Step by step, Ronaldo was back to training, and his program was in Flamengo's training facility away from the media, after Moratti reluctantly agreed. And then he started training with the ball in February, and then training with the team in March. And the news started to spread that his doctor who operated on him in Paris, Gérard Ceylon, agreed on Ronaldo's return in the Coppa Italia final against Lazio. And the media was optimistic that the Brazilian has overcome the adversity.
Entra in campo Ronaldo, ambasciatore dell'uomo, dopo l'infortunio.
After 5 months, Ronaldo came back just in time to help Inter win a major trophy. But after only 6 minutes since his return, Ronaldo's career was changed forever.
Attenzione al ginocchio destro.
Brutta caduta di Ronaldo. Una torsione del ginocchio, è rimasto giù Ronaldo. Incredibile.
Controllo sinistro, rete, incredibile!
Allora i giocatori vanno dal presidente e gli dicono: noi non crediamo più in questo allenatore, in quello che ci dice.
Serginho, buco interno, Serginho, 6-0.
the build-up to this first leg tie against Brasov of Romania has surrounded the return of Ronaldo after some 18 months out. The shirt hasn't come off yet, but he's been warming up for the past 5 minutes. Still no sign.
18 months has passed and Ronaldo was back again. But his return was not the one that was envisioned by the fans and the team. And after participating again against Brasov in the UEFA Cup qualifiers, Ronaldo asked for a month of patience from the fans and the team as his return was delayed again because of fitness issues. But the Brazilian came back in November for his first league match in 2 years against the same team that he last played against in the league, which is Lecce, and scored his first goal since '99 against Brescia in December. The joy was not only experienced by their fans and players of Inter, but even by the rivals and the media as well. But after participating in 3 more matches, Ronaldo injured the biceps in his thigh. And the seriousness of the injury was not clear as there was no clear timetable for his return. But despite all that, Hector Cooper's men were getting closer to the Scudetto.
Qualcuno dentro, tutte le puntate sono Florence! Sedo! Un gol pazzesco! 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 Sentiamo l'urlo di San Siro!
The historic race for the Scudetto in 2002 between Juve, Inter and Roma was intensified until the end, as positions were being switched until March. But the Nerazzurri managed to hold the top spot until Ronaldo's awaited return from injury in April. And after a big conflict between Inter and the Brazilian Federation on the importance of playing Ronaldo to bring back his fitness before the World Cup, the Brazilian came back on the bench against Atalanta in the Giuseppe Meazza. But the relationship between Ronaldo and Cooper was fractured after the loss against Atalanta and after the Brazilian was benched for the whole game. The Argentine manager justified his decision by saying that the match conditions didn't fit Ronaldo as there were no open spaces. But Ronaldo started the next 3 matches and managed to score 4 goals to make sure that Inter entered the last match of the season with the fate of the Scudetto in their hands. The 5th of May 2002. A day of joy for some and a disaster for others. Ronaldo entered the Olimpico 2 years after that dark day in the same stadium. As he entered in the Coppa Italia final in 2000 to win a title for Inter, here he is again 90 minutes away from a long-awaited Scudetto for the Nerazzurri fans since '89. The matches of Juve against Udine and Roma against Torino were being played at the same time, as Inter were 1 point away from the Bianconeri and 2 points from the Giallorossi.
Con il destro e poi colpo di testa e la rete, Juve in vantaggio, è passato soltanto un minuto, pallone che arriva dalle parti del Piero che riceve con il destro a rete, 2-0 Juve, un gol straordinario, perfetta interpretazione del contropiede.
Non solo, ma adesso ho visto finalmente il grande del Piero.
Alla battuta, la palla in aria, Peruzzi, l'uscita, prende palla, Vieri!
Inter in vantaggio, Cristian Vieri, c'è stato un calcio d'angolo eseguito da Recoba, un'uscita.
Centrofiore, c'è la possibilità del gol, segnato da Poborski, il pareggio della Lazio.
Effettuato da Recoba e il gol, ancora l'Inter in vantaggio.
Pericolo per l'Inter, l'errore di Gresco, il gol di Poborski, clamoroso errore di Gresco. Il cross al centro, di testa, la Lazio in vantaggio. Diego Pablo Simeone, lo vedete nell'espressione del suo volto quasi.
Ha segnato la Lazio 3-2, Inter in svantaggio. In vantaggio con un delizioso pallonetto da parte di Antonio Cassano al 23esimo.
Di Cesar, evita Zanetti, mette al centro Cesar, Simone Inzaghi.
Il gol del 4-2 della Lazio. Zambrotta, Rodomonti, intanto dice che qui può finire e allora aspettiamo.
Ronaldo wins it back. Now can he find Rivaldo? Yes he can. Rivaldo! Oh, it's come off guard. Ronaldo! Brazil are in front. It's Ronaldo! Yeah, Cleverson. Rivaldo's dummy. Ronaldo! It's 2-0!
After 4 years of disappointments, injuries, and mental exhaustion, Ronaldo achieved the greatest honor a player can achieve. And following this big success in the world's biggest stage, the rumors started to spread about Real Madrid's intention in securing the Brazilian. All the Spanish newspapers led with this rumor, and the strange thing was that Ronaldo didn't deny any of these stories. The major factor for that could be after Moratti gave full confidence in the Cooper experiment 2 days after the disaster in the Olimpico. Ronaldo and his entourage came back to Italy to discuss the matter with Moratti, but the Inter president was in the middle of his holiday and pushed the meeting for a later date, which made Ronaldo and his agents feed their demands to the media as his intentions were getting clearer. It's either me or Cooper. Moratti replied and said that Ronaldo will play for us for 1 more year against his will, and if he left, Inter was already used to his absence in the past. And after the Corriere della Sera wrote about the Cooper and Ronaldo case in detail, Moratti replied again and defended the Argentine manager. And with that, Ronaldo stated his intentions of going to Madrid clearly, as Moratti finally met with him 2 days before the Mercato closes. But the Inter president raised the white flag and agreed to sell the Brazilian for 46 million euros. Contrary to his arrival to Milan 5 years ago in the morning hours while being surrounded by the love and passion of the fans, Ronaldo left in the late hours of the night with the help of the police in the middle of the same fans, but the passion and the love turned into hatred and anger. And with that, Ronaldo's chapter with Inter was closed.